there, my name is Megan and welcome to my channel, or welcome back. Today I'm going to be doing a book review for The Three Body Problem by CIXIN Liu. The Three Body Problem is the first book in an adult science fiction series. It is the first book that I've read from this author, and it is translated from, I believe, Mandarin Chinese. The way that I structure my reviews is I talk about the plot, the things that I liked, the things that I didn't like, and then I give the book an overall rating and let you know if I think you should read this book or not. If you're interested in skipping to any one of those particular sections, I will put timestamps down below. But before we go ahead and get on into the review, if you're not already subscribed to my channel, please hit that subscribe button, as well as the little bell icon so you can be notified every time I post new content. I post new bookish videos every Monday, Thursday, and Saturday. The Three Body Problem is a fairly complex book in my opinion, plot-wise. So we are following two different timelines. The first one takes place in the 1960s in the backdrop of the Cultural Revolution that happened in China. And then we are following a modern day timeline, and we have two main characters. Forgive me if I am pronouncing any of these names wrong. We are following a woman named Ya, and she is the one that is in the 1960s version, and we are following a man named Wang who is in the more current timeline. But both of these timelines and the events that happen do come together to form like the basic plot of the story. Ya's story during the Cultural Revolution definitely gives the backdrop or the backstory to what is happening in our current world with Wang's story. So regarding the Cultural Revolution in China, I know very little about it. All I know is based off of a memoir I read by Li Jing, I believe her name is, called Red Scarf Girl. It is a memoir about her time growing up in China during this time period and what it was like. So that is the only background knowledge that I actually had about this time in China, but I know that it was very violent, it was very oppressive, a lot of people lived in fear, it was very totalitarian. And that is exactly what is demonstrated in this book with Ya's story. So Ya is the daughter of a scientist who was disgraced, and he was brutally killed by the government, and she was sent to kind of like this work camp. And she ends up doing something or getting involved in something that she shouldn't have. And instead of being criminally prosecuted, she is sent to this, what's known as Red Coast Base, which at first glance looks like a radio tower type thing with a big satellite, and they study radio transmissions and things like that because she has a background in astrophysics, if I remember correctly. So instead of, putting her in prison, they decide to put her at this base to make her work the rest of her life, kind of as restitution for being the daughter of this guy, and also some things that she did that were questionable, that were, against the ideals of the Cultural Revolution. And what we find out is that the sole purpose of this base is to try and contact extraterrestrial life using radio transmissions. And Ya actually figures out a way to get the radio transmissions to go further, and she does end up contacting aliens, and they respond to her, and she is the only one that has ever had contact with these aliens for years and years and years. So fast forward to current time, we're following a man named Wang, and Wang is a scientist that works with nanotechnology. A bunch of strange things start happening to him, a bunch of strange things start happening, in this world, and he comes across this video game called Three Body. And he ends up, and this is where it got not weird for me, but just unexpected for me. So he gets involved with this video game, and in this video game, he is having to help this civilization survive on their world because they live in a three-body world, which is where you have multiple celestial bodies, three bodies, and their exact pattern of how they're going to interact is unable to be determined or proven. So anytime these three celestial bodies, like the three suns, align, they burn the entire planet, civilization dies, and they have to start over. By the way, if you hear my cat meowing in the background, he's being a mess today. Do you want to come say hi? Okay, let's say hi. All right. Here he is. He's saying hi. Yes, you are. Where's your collar? Uh-oh, we lost it. And as we learn, this video game has something to do with the entire plot, and also the plot of, as she was trying to contact aliens in the 60s and 70s. So it sounds like a very convoluted plot, but the way that the author weaves them together was extremely well done. So now I'm going to talk about the things that I liked in this book. So I would definitely classify this book as hard sci-fi. I am not a scientist. I've never even taken a physics class, not in high school, not in college. And I cannot verify if the science discussed in this book is anywhere near accurate, or I know some of it's theoretical, or if it's feasible or, real. I don't even know. I have no clue. It sounds real. So I'm not the one to discuss the science of this book, but it is definitely hard sci-fi. And what I mean by that is that there are pages and pages of explanations about science and scientific experiments and how the science relates to the plot. And the author will literally go through like the scientific method with the reader on like this, for example, one observable phenomenon. And it is very sciencey. If you've ever read The Martian, you will know that Andy Weir literally goes step by step through like science problems with the reader. This author does the exact same thing. And I don't want to say it bogs the plot down, but if you're someone who does not like that sort of thing, this might not be for you because it is very science heavy, very hard science heavy. I personally didn't mind it. I found it utterly fascinating and I ate it up, and I feel like I learned a lot in the process, so it worked for me. I think the main thing that I liked about this book was the themes and the questions that it provoked from me, the reader. So I am always one that enjoys books that make me think. I feel like personally, sci-fi is the genre that does that best for me. And this book, just like Dune, I feel like is a book to stimulate conversations between people more than focusing on character development. Or, I mean, the plot of this book was excellent, so I don't want to say plot. But I personally didn't love Dune, but I appreciated the themes and the questions that it made me think about. This is very similar. So, for example, I really, really loved how one of the main things in this book was the inherent evil of humanity and how we destroy everything that we touch. We destroy each other, we destroy nature, and Yah recognizes that. I feel like most of us do, but she is the one that feels like the aliens are a more advanced, successful civilization that they can help us to better ourselves. So it is this overarching theme or idea of humanity needing a redeemer, someone that is able to redeem them from the corrosion of our hearts. And this author talks a lot, not a lot, but a little bit about spirituality and the fact that he does not believe a God exists or anything like that, but yet he superimposes a godlike being in these aliens. And it almost relates to the themes found in Christianity, where you're looking at the Old Testament in the Bible, which leads all the way up to the New Testament and the need for a redeemer for mankind. And that directly parallels what the author was saying in this book here. I'm not saying it's a Christian book, but the theme was incredibly similar because right away, Yah went through the Cultural Revolution. She saw her dad brutally murdered. Her sister and her mother abandoned her. She was forced into a work camp. She saw how the government was destroying forests and all this stuff. And she understands that we are inherently evil and that we need someone or something to help us better ourselves. So she thinks it's these aliens. So once again, it's just the theme of the general evil of humanity and the idea or question if humanity can even be redeemed and what that would look like. I also really enjoyed the themes of perseverance. So Yah went through hell, you guys. She went through so much bad stuff and she continued to work and survive. And that leads into the other theme of just seeking knowledge and having that inherent curiosity about the universe and things like that, because even though she went through those hard times, she still stuck it out and she still continued to have her curiosity to learn and to grow and to absorb more knowledge and to apply that to things in her life. And I just really like seeing that. As for the things that I didn't like, there really wasn't too many. So if you are a reader that really, really enjoys characterization in your books, like you like character-driven plots and just the relationships between characters, you are not going to find that in Three Body Problem. Any character could have played Yah, any character could have played Wong. The plot is definitely not about the characters. Yes, we are with them as they are going through these experiences, but the plot is definitely based in hard science and themes about humanity. So me personally, I knew that going in because I had read reviews that said like their characterization sucks, the characters are wooden. So you have to go in knowing that that's true. And if you already go in knowing that, then you'll enjoy this book way more, I think. But if you go in thinking that you're going to have like super dynamic, awesome, real characters, that's just not going to happen. And then the only other thing I didn't like, and by the way, I am watching the TV show too on Netflix. So I have watched, I think, the first 4 episodes, and they call the people that have made contact with the aliens, the Trisolarans, they call them Lord, or like the leader. And I don't know yet exactly who the leader of the Trisolarans are. Maybe I missed something, but the characters call this leader Lord. And in the TV show, it's almost like they created this cult or this religion around the knowledge of these aliens. And in the book, it even says that there will be sections of people on Earth that create a religion out of these aliens. And in the TV show, it's made to be very cult-like. And my husband even asked me, he's like, is it like this in the book? Is it like they're in a cult? And I said, no, it's not. However, it is mentioned how people will begin to worship these aliens as gods, even though they haven't yet interacted with them directly. So I personally do not like any books that talk about cults or have anything to do with cults. I just find it unnerving. I don't like it. So while this book did not have that exactly, the characters did call the alien leader Lord, and they did kind of treat them as some sort of existential, all-powerful, omnipotent being. And I could see in future books how there might be religions and cults that come up related to this. I just don't know yet. Other than that, guys, those are the only things that I didn't really like so much in this book. All in all, Three Body Problem was a huge, huge enjoyment for me. I could not put it down. I really enjoyed the story. I was fascinated by it. I just loved the questions that the author posed to the reader, the science behind it. It made me think. I learned things. I just found the plot to be so intricately crafted and complex that I just wanted to keep reading. And I've already purchased the second book and will start reading it as soon as it arrives here. I ended up giving this book a 4.5 out of 5 stars. The only reason I didn't give it the full 5 stars is just that little lack of characterization that the author didn't have, as well as some issues I had with the translation. Whenever we have translated works, I feel like we lose some of the beauty of the original prose, and that's what happened in this book too. No fault of anybody, really. It's just the nature of translation. So if you enjoy hard sci-fi, I definitely recommend this book. You guys will have to let me know in the comments if you've read it and what you thought of it. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you all in another video soon. Goodbye!